okay, we got a nicer weekend today. I've got seeds in. And so let's plant some lettuce seeds in some containers and get them started. Okay, I'm just going to start a few lettuce seeds in a couple of cells. I'll start them on a windowsill inside the house where it's warm for now. And if you get a couple of too many in a hole, don't worry about it. There just isn't really any way to not. And you can thin them out. Or this, like I say, this is butter crunch leaf lettuce. It's pretty non-sensitive. So, but I'll take these in 2 weeks and I'll plant them in the, I'll take them out and put them in the greenhouse and plant them in my little soil bed in the greenhouse. And then that'll be our first little early couple of salads out of the garden. Okay, now, get these seeds kind of out of my way before I spill them all over the place. These little seed cells are a pretty handy deal. I believe I bought them at Walmart. They're just like $5, and comes with a clear dome you can put on the tray, which makes it handy. Until they get germinated and going. And fairly inexpensive. So just kind of lightly cover them. And then when you water them, water from the bottom. Don't water from the top of the cell. Water from the bottom, pour the water into the tray, and it should do fine. It'll suck it'll wick up to the top, and your seeds will come up. Kind of press down lightly, make sure you got a little contact with the soil. Pretty simple stuff. All right, now let's take a couple minutes to talk about buying seeds and about seeds in general. Now, one thing I kind of learned in the last few years about seeds, because I get seed company catalogs, and there's one or two that I like to buy from. I like the stuff they have. Well, it dawned on me that somebody else came up with this, and I don't know why. They're not growing those seeds. Most of these seed companies are buying them from a grower, and you're getting the same seeds. So you want to look at prices when you buy your seeds. And last year, a company I like to use and usually use was the cheapest. They had good deals. They had good prices. Bought them all from them. This year, different company that I don't think I've ever ordered from sent their catalog, and they had the best deals on stuff this year. So, on the stuff I wanted to buy. So, I'm buying from them. Like I say, you always have this picture in your mind of these seed companies just having huge farms out there where they're harvesting each individual seed that they sell, and that's just not the case. There may be one or two things that they're developing and working on, and maybe they're harvesting, but most of the stuff they're getting from other growers, and they're just pre-packaging it, sending it out. So look at price. Now, another thing I've been noticing is people don't know a lot about this. Apparently, they talk about worrying about GMO stuff, and there's no GMO seeds in garden seeds that the consumer buys. It's just not out there. You don't have to worry about it. In fact, if you're all concerned about GMO products getting into your diet, grow a garden. It's a good deal. Get stuff you like, it's fresher, you plant what you want, and you don't that just doesn't get into gardening catalogs and seed racks at Walmart and so forth. So another thing I have heard talked about lately that was whether you wanted heirlooms or you wanted the hybrids. Now, I looked through my packs and I don't really think that I have much of anything that isn't an heirloom in my seed packs, but wait a minute, I believe, yeah, I've got a hybrid sweet corn, peaches and cream sweet corn. Now, heirlooms kind of tickle me because I was out of gardening for a few years, and just in the last 2 or 3 years have gotten back into it. And when I got out of gardening, and nobody was saying heirloom. All of a sudden, I get into catalogs and stuff, and I'm not seeing the old standard varieties. That's what we call them, standard varieties. You know, Rutgers tomatoes and things like that. All of a sudden, I see them, and they're all in the heirloom department. Kind of tickled me. I think it's funny, but they're all older varieties, standard varieties. You could save seeds from the stuff that you pick if you want to. And it's a little more complicated with tomatoes, but most things is real easy. And you can save the seeds and replant next year out of, you know. Also, seeds they'll last a couple of years. It takes them a couple years or so until they get to a point where, okay, they're not germinating as good anymore. You're only getting 2 out of 3 or something like that coming up. So I usually save the leftovers. And then after a couple of years, I'll go ahead and toss them away and buy new. Another thing people seem to be confused about is hybrids. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with buying hybrid seeds if you want to. All they've done is they've taken 2 standard varieties and crossed them. For instance, if you were doing sweet corn and you were creating a hybrid, you'd plant some of each. When the first variety comes up and starts to tassel, you'd take the tassels off or cover them with a bag or something of that nature. Then the other variety comes up, starts to tassel, you take tassels from that variety, you take it over to the ones where you've removed the tassels or covered them up, and you use that tassel to pollinate the silks on that other variety of corn. Now when that stuff makes what it makes, those seeds are hybrid. They're a cross between those 2 varieties. And they're more expensive because obviously there's some work involved in crossing those 2, but a lot of times there's advantages too. You know, everybody's heard the term hybrid vigor. Sometimes hybrid, you know, they're taking the best 2 varieties that maybe one's a really good growing, yielding variety, the other has a particularly sweet taste to the fruit. So they're crossing to make what is a better product and maybe yields more. So there's nothing wrong with hybrids either. You might pay $3 or $3.50 for a package of hybrid seeds, but my goodness, when you're harvesting and you get a bushel of sweet corn out of your garden, that $3.50 isn't a big deal. You back out $2 that maybe you would have paid for the standard variety, and you say, hey, I paid $1.50 more, but I got peaches and cream sweet corn, you know, something I like better. So that's about it this time. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time. Like I say, I'm going to put these on a windowsill, and in a couple of weeks, I'm going to plant them in the little soil bed in my greenhouse. And about that time's when I'm going to be starting a lot of seeds and stuff in the greenhouse and start getting the garden beds mulched in really good and ready to plant. So maybe we'll see. Oh, I was going to talk a little about punxsutawney Phil. We've been joking about this, the groundhog that they always show in New England and pull him out and do the big thing if he can see his shadow. And this year he couldn't see his shadow. So we've joked, everybody knows that there's no scientific proof to this. It's just a folk tale. And I've seen times when he saw his shadow and then really it got nice pretty soon, you know. But it tickled me. We were joking about it. Punxsutawney film saw his shadow. Winter's over. The whole next week was cold and nasty and evil. But this weekend, Saturday was pretty bad. Today's nice out. And I'm looking at my phone, and the 7-day forecast through next weekend, it's nice. It's going to be in the 60s. It's going to be close to 70. And the overnight lows are starting to inch up. So maybe we'll see if the week after that holds to a similar pattern. My gosh, we may have a nice early spring. All right. That's all I have for today. Just a quickie. But, you know, leave a comment. And if you have a question, leave a question. Won't hurt our feelings if you subscribe or if you give it a thumbs up. In fact, you know, this is fun to do. And I'd like to see a little feedback from people. So, I want you to have a quality day. And we'll see you next time.